In this session, we're going to discover how two practitioners are combining expertise to develop a collaborative care model that maximises your horse's health. It's a new opportunity, but it's grounded in the experience of thousands of years of healing. This is a collaboration between Equinix, State of Balance, and Sacred Horse. I'm Naomi Miller from Equinix, State of Balance. Today we're going to start the presentation with both Gizelle Hamilton from Sacred Horse and I, both sharing a little bit about how we came to our careers as natural health practitioners for horses. Then I will explain how acupuncture is able to affect so many functions within the body and outline some of these effects backed up by research. Then Gizelle will fill you in on the history, uses and benefits of herbal medicine. We will then look at how these ancient forms of medicine complement each other as part of one holistic system. Finally, Gizelle will explain how our collaborative care model is best practice for your horse and the opportunity we're offering for your horse to benefit from our joining forces. I'll hand over to Gizelle now.
Hi everyone, I am Gizelle Hamilton, equine naturopath and founder of Sacred Horse. As Naomi mentioned, we're just going to take a little bit of time to introduce ourselves before we get going so that you know who we are. Naomi and I actually crossed paths through Julie Fiedler and HorseSA, and we found that our philosophies and our backgrounds were just so closely aligned that we thought it would be a brilliant idea to work together and collaborate for the benefit of the horses and the horse owners who we serve. So starting with myself, I am an equine naturopath and I offer services in equine herbal medicine, flower essences, equine nutrition and equine myofunctional therapy, which is a type of bodywork. I'm fully qualified in all of the modalities that I offer, and I'm also a full professional member of both the Small Animal and Equine Naturopathic Association and the Australian Society of Rehabilitation Counsellors. Not only do I now specialise in natural holistic horse health because it's a field that I really love, but previously I also worked as a rehabilitation consultant for humans, so I have quite a diverse background. My interest in natural therapies actually started with my own health problems quite a few years ago, which led me to seek out a traditional Chinese medical practitioner, which is very aligned with the work that Naomi and I are talking about today. The results that I achieved when I saw this practitioner through a combination of herbal medicine, dietary changes and acupuncture were more than I had ever been able to achieve through going to various GPs, specialists and other health experts. And I was just so excited to finally have my breakthrough in a manner that was really easy and really natural. Over time, after a while, my horse's condition was beginning to decline as he was aging, and I consulted a couple of different vets for their opinions, but no one really had any proactive solutions. It was just very much an attitude of, you know, he is getting old and he is getting arthritic and this is just life. But I, obviously being a lover of my horse, I wasn't happy with that as a final outcome. So I decided that natural therapies might be a really good option for my horse as well, considering they had worked so well for me. And that's where I began my studies to become an equine naturopath. It was really, in the beginning, all for my own horse. And here I am today, offering the same modalities to other people that I helped my horse with. And I'm happy to say that my horse is now happy and healthy at 32 years old. His digestion is better than it's ever been. His condition is really good for his age, and his arthritis is very much under control. And I credit all of this to my use of equine natural therapies. Now, my philosophy is very much about treating the whole horse, mind, body, and spirit. And for me, an approach to well-being should always start with lifestyle and diet, as they can be the real foundational pieces that make a difference. Recognizing that, you know, food truly is the best medicine, and lifestyle is a determinant of your horse's mental and emotional state of being. If they're unhappy in their lifestyle, everything else is going to start going wrong for them from a health perspective. Where an imbalance does occur, I look deeper into plant-based medicines, and I also offer herbs to help rebalance the body, and flower essences to help rebalance the horse's emotions. And that, pretty much in a very quick nutshell, is how I operate. So Naomi, I'm going to hand back to you to have a bit of a talk about yourself.
Thanks, Gizelle. I'd always had an interest, I guess, in holistic health for both people and animals, and I started doing some energy work with my horse, and the changes I saw in him really made me want to understand how they were possible and what was really going on. That ultimately led me to study both equine muscle release therapy, which is the official Bowen therapy for horses, and also oriental medicine for animals, so acupuncture based on Chinese medicine theory, and shiatsu, which is a Japanese form of acupressure working along the acupuncture channels. Acupuncture in particular and the ways in which it can affect horses fascinated me right from the beginning, from being able to do things like increase circulation, assisting with healing of injuries, and having proven effects on the immune system. I've been a professional acupuncturist and therapist since 2011, and I travel by arrangement as part of my practice as well. And like Gizelle, I look at taking a whole horse approach. So when I'm working with people and their horses, as well as looking at acupuncture and Chinese medicine theory, I look at the biomechanics of the horse, how the horse is moving, what their work currently is, their conformation, saddle fit, and so on. So we're both coming from the same wavelength in that respect, I guess, which is another reason why our work kind of complements each other. And when I met Gizelle, I could see that if we joined forces and combined our expertise, we'd be able to achieve even better outcomes for horses. So now we're going to have a look at the healing power of acupuncture. Acupuncture is one of the most ancient forms of health therapy, and there's been stone needles found from between 4,000 and 10,000 years ago by archaeologists. It's still the form of medicine used by the most people worldwide. Animal therapies have also been around for a long time in this sense, and were first described in Chinese texts in the 2nd century BC, and acupuncture has been developed continuously since then using empirical research, so essentially observation and experience over thousands of years. In more recent times, of course, there's also been much research on the effects of acupuncture on both people and animals. One of the questions I'm asked most often is, how does acupuncture work? And there are a number of different ways that we can explain that, but one way to understand how it manages to regulate the body's systems and improve resistance is via a concept called neuropeptides. These are chemical substances produced by nerve cells in the brain. A neuroscientist in the US named Candace Pert discovered that these neuropeptides change the chemistry and electricity of every cell in the body via receptors on the cells. And her discovery basically explained how the brain, glands, and immune system are linked via these information carriers. And then we have what Dr. Pert coined the integrated entity of body-mind. So her discovery essentially kind of brought together an explanation for how the separate disciplines of neurology, endocrinology, and immunology all work together within the body as one system. Chinese medicine has always seen the systems of the mind and body as one, and now Western medicine is starting to be able to explain that from a more biomedical perspective. Acupuncture has been shown to affect all of these systems via the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, or HPA axis, which is essentially elements of the brain and endocrine system. In this way, it activates homeostasis and helps the body return to a state of balance, which it's always trying to do. What can we use acupuncture for? There are many studies on the effects of acupuncture on both humans and animals, as I mentioned. In very general terms, acupuncture can have an effect on any functional issue in the body as opposed to a structural issue. It's been shown in studies to have a number of different types of effects, including an analgesic effect, so pain relief, an anti-inflammatory effect, antifebrile effect, so it reduces fever, and it regulates the immune system, and has also been shown to promote circulation and regulation of heart rate. Now, Gizelle, I'll hand back over to you, and Gizelle's going to take us through the process of the healing power of herbal medicine.
Thank you. So herbal medicine is a traditional form of medicine like acupuncture, and it has been used by humans for at least the past 60,000 years. And we know this based on archaeological evidence that we currently have available. Herbal medicine is so highly effective and affordable that it continues to be the primary form of medicine that's used globally ahead of pharmaceutical medicines. The World Health Organization still maintains free access documents online and in hard copy that outline a myriad of herbs that can be used medicinally by people all over the world, because the World Health Organization recognizes that herbal medicine is as equally relevant as pharmaceutical medicine. And for those of you who are interested, yes, you can have a look online and you can find those documents and download them. So what I want you to take away from that is herbal medicine, given properly, is a very powerful and effective means of treating illness and imbalances in the body. It isn't just something that you throw in your food for flavour or offer to your friends as a trendy cup of tea. Herbs are actually used to treat the same conditions that we treat using pharmaceuticals in Western society. And it's been an effective form of treatment for thousands of years. We don't use herbs particularly often to treat our medical ailments in Western society because there's no big profit in that for major pharmaceutical companies. So we've very much been taught that the way to go is pharmaceutical route. But interestingly, herbal medicine actually forms the basis of most of our pharmaceutical drugs today. Most of the drugs on the market are actually created by studying traditional herbal medicines and identifying one key ingredient that is believed to elicit the healing effect. And what they then do is pull out that chemical constituent, put it in a tablet form in a high dose, and then sell that at a premium. Scientists continue to work on studying the plants that form the basis of medical treatment in tribes all around the world in order to produce new synthetic drugs for our Western culture. The problem we have with these man-made drugs is twofold. The first is that the dose at which the active constituent is given is so high that side effects can be produced. If you think about all of the drug warnings that you receive with your medications in the packet whenever you go to the chemist, that's what I'm talking about. The other problem is that these drugs don't contain the complementary ingredients in the plant-based medicine that help the body to synergize the medicine and prevent side effects. That's not to say that herbs don't come with side effects as well, but most of the side effects, most of them are side effect free when given in the correct dose. That's why herbal medicine is such a good option, because when it's formulated by a professional, it's usually safe, highly effective, and easily accepted by the body. And that's not to say that pharmaceutical medicines don't have a place, because they absolutely do. We all use them, and I have great respect for them. But I just want you to consider that herbal medicine in the right place at the right time is a very valid option. The other thing I want to give you an understanding of is that popping a tablespoon of herbs into your horse's feed, which is sort of very popular at the moment, it's not actually giving them a proper medicinal dose. It will absolutely provide them with some benefit. Any herbs that you add to your horse's feed or to your own food when you're cooking will give you some benefit. But if you take into account the size of your horse, if you're putting a tablespoon of a herb into your horse's food, it's the equivalent of giving them a cup of herbal tea. So it's going to have a little bit of benefit for them, but you're giving that dosage to an animal which is hundreds of kilos in weight. So it's only a very, very small dosage for them. What the horse really needs is a dose that's appropriate to its body mass to be truly effective. When you're giving just a tablespoon, I would say that you're sort of really just playing with herbs as opposed to giving a medicinal dose that will have a high effect or high impact. The reason that most of the packets of herbs recommend a tablespoon is because they're giving like a standard dose for horses of different sizes. So they want to make sure that you don't overdose, because like I said, herbs given in the right dose are perfect. Give too much, there can be problems. Give too little, it's not going to elicit much effect. So they're giving sort of a stock standard dose that's within a safe range for most horses. The last thing that I want to say about herbs, and in fact it's one of my favourite things about herbal medicine, is that it actually targets the root cause of the problem and it doesn't just mask the symptoms. What I mean by that is, if I can give a human example, if you have reflux, you're told to take an antacid, but that doesn't actually resolve the problem, and you know that because every time you have a big heavy dinner, the reflux comes back, so you've got to keep popping those antacids on an ongoing basis. By comparison, if you were to skip the antacid and go to a herbalist, they'll look to treat the root cause of the problem by preparing a herbal formulation that's focuses on supporting the organs of digestion, detoxification, and so forth. And the aim is to resolve the problem for good. Now, it's not going to happen instantly, like when you take your antacid, and that's where the antacid is beneficial. It gets rid of the discomfort. But you won't have to have the antacid long term if you address the root cause. And that is the focus of herbal medicine. It's a long-term solution with long-term benefits. Now, if you're wanting to know more about herbal medicine or go a bit more in depth, I've done a few talks on herbal medicine, which are available on my YouTube page, so go and have a look. It is a fascinating topic, but I don't want to take up the entire webinar on herbal medicine today because Naomi and I are really teaching you about how acupuncture and herbal medicine are beautifully synergized together. So go and have a look if you want to find out more. And now I'm going to hand back to Naomi, who will look at the synergism of acupuncture and herbal medicine.
Thanks, Gizelle. Yes, these two really work together and have done for a long time. They've always been two key parts of Chinese medicine, which is very comprehensive and also includes things like exercise, massage, diet and lifestyle, so things like stress alleviation as part of the Chinese medicine approach. How do acupuncture and herbal medicine specifically complement each other? I just want to talk a little bit about that now. In Chinese medicine, therapies, parts of the body and disease states are all described as being either more yang or more yin in nature. Yang is associated with activity, heat and the exterior, while yin is associated with receptivity, cool and the interior. And this just gives us one way, I guess, of understanding how the two work together. So for example, if we think about yang, the horse's back is the most yang part of the body because it's the most exterior and exposed. And the belly is the most yin part because it's underneath where it's vulnerable, but also where it's protected. Acupuncture is a more yang form of therapy because it's active, so we're inserting needles into the body, which alerts the body to send resources to that area. Herbal medicine would be considered a more yin approach within Chinese medicine because it's taken internally and it has a direct effect on the internal systems of the body, such as the gut. While acupuncture can also affect internal systems and underlying imbalances, its forte is in dealing with musculoskeletal issues as they're more exterior and yang. Likewise, while herbal medicine can have an impact on musculoskeletal issues by helping to correct the underlying imbalances, its main strength, we could say, is on the internal tonifying or strengthening effects from the inside out. In this way, acupuncture and herbal medicine work together to create a whole body effect that's synergistic, since they're addressing the same imbalances in slightly different ways. While either one of them is used very effectively as a standalone therapy, together they can have an even more powerful effect. And that's something that's been known for thousands of years and put into practice. Gizelle, would you like to talk through the collaborative healing model that we've come up with to really make the most of this synergistic approach?
Absolutely, thank you. So, as I mentioned earlier, prior to becoming an equine naturopath, I actually worked as a rehabilitation consultant for humans. In that role, my job was to coordinate treatment and restoration to the community or workforce for people of all ages who faced injury or disability. And one of the key components of my job was to ensure collaboration across disciplines, which means getting the doctor or GP, the specialist and therapists, and potentially an employer or a community group on the same page to make sure that therapy was successful and that the individual with the injury or the disability got the outcome that they needed. What we know from research and what I know from my time doing that role is that the best and most optimal treatment outcomes occur when all of the medical practitioners and therapists are working together towards a common goal. Within the animal health space, I'm going to be honest, we're really lagging behind with regard to collaborative medical care. You know as the horse owner that while the vet is the primary treating practitioner, you're actually the one sitting at the centre of coordinating treatments for your horses and making a decision about what you're going to try. You may go to any number of different practitioners on the recommendation of friends and mentors without any discussion or collaboration between those different parties. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and from your perspective, it's really extremely confusing and frustrating and a bit of a lonely process. The end result of all that, it's a poor outcome for your horse and a fairly empty bank account for you by the time you have gone to lots of different practitioners and given your money away. This is why Naomi and I have come together. We know and we recognise that 2 experts working together is better than 1 expert working alone. Between the 2 of us, we pool our knowledge and our skills and work together to get the very best outcome for your horse. We do that by cross-consulting on your horse's case and providing a collaborative approach in administering our different yet very related areas of expertise. We are also more than happy to work with your vet to ensure a truly cross-disciplinary approach to healing. We just need authority to talk to your vet, and your vet needs to be willing to talk to us about your horse's case and best options available for them. I want you to know that traditional and Western forms of medicine can absolutely be administered at the same time. And if we have your vet working with us, you're going to feel more supported. You're going to have really clear direction on where your horse is going and the likely outcomes of treatment for your horse. From a vet's perspective, if they have an overview of all the other therapies that you're going to with your horse, and we're able to strategically discuss the horse's case with your vet, or they're able to discuss it with the other treating providers, they have greater control over ensuring that the best outcome is achieved, and they've really got a bird's eye view of what's going on, and they know what's going on each time they consult with you and your horse. The other benefit for veterinarians is that they get to know the therapists in the industry, and they can start to recommend therapists with the knowledge and approach that most aligns with their own medical philosophies, which is fabulous. So all of a sudden, when we get to work with your vets, it's a win-win. Everyone's happy. Your horse is getting the very best treatment, and your vet has more control, and you feel more supported. So what I would like to talk about next is the collaborative care package that Naomi and I have pulled together. And this is for the best outcome of your horse. What we have decided to do is work together and offer acupuncture, bone therapy, shiatsu, as Naomi has, with herbal medicine consults with me. So what we are offering specifically is 2 tailored face-to-face consults with Naomi. She'll come out and have a chat to you about what's going on with your horse, and then determine which of her specific modalities is best needed for your horse. You also get 2 herbal medicine consults with me, in which I will specifically formulate a blend for your horse based on their needs. And that comprises an initial consult and a review consult to see how your horse is going, and to amend the formula if required based on how your horse is progressing. So you've got 2 people with eyes on your horse as the horse is healing. The great thing about the formulations that I give you is that you receive the formula itself, so that you can restock as often as you need, and you can shop around for best price based on your budget. The real goal of this collaborative care package that Naomi and I are offering is that Naomi and I are joining heads to discuss your horse's individual case, their needs and their scenario. And we develop a unique and tailored treatment approach which ensures all services are complementary and you're getting maximum benefit for your buck. We're also, as I mentioned, more than happy to discuss the case with your vet. If you have the vet involved, we obviously just need authority to talk to the vet, but we're more than comfortable to have a chat to your vet about what's going on, what treatment they're providing, the treatment pathway that they're most comfortable with, and pulling it all together. At the moment, we're currently offering special pricing on this package for the next 30 days from the date of this 2019 summit. And please contact either Naomi or myself for details. We will be offering this collaborative care package into the future. So it will still be available, but if you want to get extra special pricing, please contact us as soon as possible. In the name of simplicity, if you have any questions or if you wish to book a package, just hop onto either one of our websites. I've got the details up in front of you. Or you can contact us and reach out via Facebook Messenger. I'm at The Sacred Horse and Naomi is at Equinix Balance. So So that is all for today. On behalf of Naomi and myself, I want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions whatsoever, or you'd like to make a comment, feel free to make contact with us. We would love to hear from you. Thank you very much.